Scope creep. Just those two words are enough to make your stomach drop, right? We've all been taught that it's the ultimate project killer, the thing you have to fight tooth and nail. But what if everything you've been told is a lie? What if the very thing you're fighting is actually a hidden gold mine? Stick around, because we're about to flip this whole idea on its head.
Yeah, this thing. We paint it as this monster under the bed, right? The one that comes out at night to kill your projects, absolutely obliterate your budgets, and just wreck your timelines. It's the boogeyman that every project manager is taught to fear. But you know what? Today, we're going to flip on the lights and see what's really there.
Because what if it's not a monster? What if it's actually a treasure map? Think about it. Every time a client comes to you and asks for just one more little thing, what if they're not trying to drive you crazy? What if they're literally handing you an invitation to make more money, build a better final product, and lock them in as a client for life? It's time to stop running from scope creep and start running towards it.
Okay, so to really get this new way of thinking, we first have to tear down the old way. We have to see exactly why the traditional advice is so fundamentally wrong for the kind of work that we're all doing today. You know, the whole idea of scope management comes from old school industries. Think construction, manufacturing. You get a blueprint for a bridge, and you build that exact bridge. Any change is a massive, expensive failure. But let's be real, most of us aren't building bridges. We're in the dynamic world of software, creative work, marketing. The market changes. We learn new things. Sticking to a plan you made 6 months ago when you have better information today, well, that isn't discipline. It's just plain stupid.
And this old way of thinking, it just creates a war zone. It turns you, the expert, into the scope police. Your job becomes just saying no over and over again. And what happens? You end up in this adversarial relationship with your client. They feel like you're not listening, your team gets caught in the crossfire, and everyone's stuck building something that might already be irrelevant. It is absolutely exhausting, and it doesn't have to be this way.
Okay, so here's the big idea, the real shift. The problem isn't the change itself. A client asking for a change means they're engaged, they're learning. That's a good thing. The real problem, the real villain here is the term we use, scope creep. Just saying those words frames the whole conversation as a negative. It creates conflict before you've even started talking.
So, let's do something radical. Let's kill that term right here, right now. From this point forward, we are calling it scope evolution. See how different that feels? It's not a disease you have to cure. It's a natural, healthy process. It's your project adapting and getting smarter in real time. And that one little change in vocabulary, well, it changes absolutely everything.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we take this idea of scope evolution and turn it into a system that makes you money? It all boils down to a super simple 3-part framework. I call it the yes and framework.
It's built on 3 really solid pillars. First, we need a complete shift in your mindset. Second, you need a professional, bulletproof process to handle the change. And third, you have to align your business model so that change is profitable, not painful. Let's break down exactly how it works.
Step 1 is all about those first 5 seconds, that initial gut reaction. When a client asks for something new, your first few words are critical. They can either build a wall or they can build a bridge. Most of us, we've been trained to build a wall. We say, nope, or sorry, that's out of scope. We're going to build a bridge instead.
From now on, your default response is this: yes, and. Or maybe, that's a fantastic idea, and let's talk about what it would take. This simple phrase is like a magic trick. It instantly changes the dynamic. You're no longer an obstacle, you're a partner. You're saying, yes, I'm on your team, we can do that, and now let's have a calm, professional business conversation about the time and budget required.
All right, once you've opened that door with a collaborative yes and, you slide right into a simple 3-step process to manage it like a total pro. I call it clarify, confirm, contract.
This little process is so simple, but man, it is powerful. First, you clarify. Ask a ton of questions. Make sure you understand exactly what they want and why. Second, and this is the part almost everyone messes up, you confirm the impact. You have to state it plainly. Okay, to do that, it will add X amount to the budget and push the deadline back by Y weeks. Does that sound good? And third, you contract. Get that approval in writing. An email is totally fine. This isn't about being a jerk, it's about being a clear, professional partner.
But look, none of this works if your own business model is fighting against you. The final, crucial piece of the puzzle is making sure your financial setup actually rewards you for being this flexible.
Just think about it for a second. If you're on a rigid, fixed-fee contract, every single change request feels like a punch to the gut. It's money out of your pocket. The contract itself is incentivizing you to say no. But if you're on a model like time and materials or a retainer, suddenly your incentives are perfectly aligned. The client wants to add more work? Great! That means more value for them and more revenue for you. It's a true win-win.
Right about now, I can hear the objections. The battle-scarred project managers are probably screaming at their screens. So let's talk about when and how to say no.
Does this mean you just say yes to every single crazy idea a client has? No, of course not. This isn't about becoming a mindless order taker. Your real value isn't just in executing tasks. It's in your strategic brain. It's your job to guide the client to the best possible outcome.
The difference is all in the delivery. A rigid gatekeeper just says, "No, that's a dumb idea." A true strategic partner says something like, "That's an interesting idea. My only concern is that based on our main goal, this might be a distraction. What if we put a pin in it and add it to the list for phase 2? See, you're not being a roadblock, you're being a guide."
So when you put all this together, when you really master this approach, it becomes more than just a project management technique. It actually becomes an incredibly powerful filter for your whole business.
So let's recap the big ideas real quick. 1. Scope creep is a lie. Call it scope evolution. 2. Always start with a yes and mindset. 3. Use the clarify, confirm, contract process for every single change. And 4. Make sure your business model actually pays you to be a good partner.
But here it is. The real secret weapon in all this. The single biggest takeaway. This whole process, it's not really about managing scope. It's a secret test. It's a litmus test for your clients.
Pay close attention to how a client reacts when you professionally present them with the impact of their request. A good client, a real partner, will say, "Awesome, thank you for that clear breakdown, let's do it." A bad client, a client who doesn't respect you, will say something like, "Oh, come on, can't you just squeeze it in for me?" Their reaction tells you everything you need to know about whether they're worth your time. It's the most powerful client filter you will ever have.
Okay, your turn. I know you've got stories. What's the absolute best or the most nightmarish experience you've ever had with a client asking for just one more thing? Drop the stories in the comments. The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's get a real conversation going.
Hey, if you're ready to stop dreading those client emails and start turning them into profitable opportunities, do me a favor and hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.